Now, from what I've heard about Resident Evil Revelations, there's supposed to be a component involving the weather. I don't know how that's going to work out. I mean, it really is up in the air. They just said that the weather is going to be used for maximum effect or something along those lines. Which means it could be like an interface screw where if you're walking outside in the pouring rain or something, you can't see worth shit. That makes sense. On the other hand, the idea that as the ship is gradually getting more beaten down with rain and wind and a storm and stuff, then it will get more and more deteriorated and eventually it'll go whee! I mean sinking, sorry about the random sound effects, but I get bored. Anyway, so who knows? We really don't have very much information on that, but the screenshots and the demos indicate that it's supposed to be raining out. It's storming out. Now, the website indicates that it's supposed to be set around the coast of somewhere in Europe. It's implied to be sometime in winter because some of the artwork it's all snowy, but some of the artwork it's raining, so maybe they're going north. It's hard to tell what's going on. There isn't really very much information. We're probably lucky about that because Resident Evil 5, one of the things that they originally did was they had artwork of Chris visiting Jill's grave. Now, later, if you watched the trailer for Degeneration, I'm sorry, I didn't really follow what was going on with Resident Evil 5 when there were like commercials and such and artwork leading up to it. I didn't really follow that. But the thing is, the Degeneration DVD has a trailer of Resident Evil 5. And at the end, it's Wesker doing the whole "you should be so happy to see us," and then he pulls off the hood, and then it cuts off before you can see her face. So it gets I guess it's sort of like they implied it so heavily that Jill's really not dead that apparently it was a spoiler, and so maybe we're lucky that there's not any information about not any recent information about Resident Evil Revelations. Maybe yes, maybe no. It's a little hard to tell, though, what they were planning to do. I mean, all we know is it's set in Europe. The camera is over the shoulder, but you can switch to first person or not for weaponry. There's this freaky regenerator squid thing with claws that actually sort of resembled the training tyrant off of Code Veronica. You know, that sort of stomp and then there's little spikes sticking out. It sort of resembles that, you know. And then there's like blood everywhere around that area. So, what else is there? It's raining, they're on a ship, to the point that you can make "I'm on a boat" jokes, which actually I do quite a lot. At least to my brother. Anyway. It's Chris and Jill. And for some reason, Jill is wearing a full body wetsuit. And she's wearing a buoyancy compensator device. And like little lead weights. She's in like full diving uniform. Well, she's in like a full diving uniform besides maybe an air tank. She doesn't have that. But Chris, on the other hand, he's wearing normal clothing and a buoyancy compensator device and lead weights. So that gets a little weird because he should be wearing a wetsuit too. But people complain that the reason why Jill's like, oh, they're just using the wetsuit for fan service. No, there's actually probably a really good reason why she's wearing a wetsuit. Actually, the thing that bugs me is that Chris isn't wearing a wetsuit. That's the thing that bugs me. I mean, people are like, oh, fan service. Well, if you're going diving, you need a wetsuit or a dry suit. And most of the time, unless it's freezing cold water, you wear a wetsuit. A wetsuit, by the way, there's a layer of, it lets in water, and then there's a layer of water over your skin, but then there's the layer of, like, rubber, so your body heats up the water and you stay warm. Of course, that doesn't work when it's, like, 20 below water, you know, like the polar bear jumps. That's a really bad idea because you won't be able to warm it up fast enough. But the thing is that those things get really hot on land. So people were like saying, oh, about fan service and her zipper being somewhat down. Well, the thing is, those things get pretty hot. You see, how should I put it? Back in the day, my dad was a scuba diver, so he sort of like, he did a lot of that stuff. He had a wetsuit and buoyancy compensator and the tanks, which is pretty much the only thing that Jill's missing. Get the idea? Then, you know, it would probably be a stupid idea to have a gun on your person if you're scuba diving to a place, actually, so I'm a little confused about that. Because in the demo so far, she has a gun. Problem is that if a gun were to get wet, that would not be good for it. But I went from weather to costuming, I guess. So, I mean, I'm still a little confused. And then, of course, the rendering of Chris, he's got, like, these big old, like, headphones and, like, a thing, and it's like a communication device that almost makes you think of helicopter pilots. Which is really bad, actually, because helicopter pilots in this series have a really bad lifespan. They tend to die a lot. I'm talking Brad dying upon showing up in Resident Evil 3. I'm talking Kevin Dooley, who got ripped apart by zombie dogs. I'm talking Mike, the helicopter pilot. And then the one unnamed one in Resident Evil 4. You get the idea that... And there's also, I think, Kirk, who also got killed, but those were by Kipepeo. Or is it Vipepeo, because it's Bantu language, so it's all weird. Anyway, I guess that's all I have to say. I don't know if the other BSAA members who are apparently supposed to show up in this, if they're going to be wearing diving stuff or not. I mean, are they infiltrating by diving? Are they showing up on helicopter? It's hard to tell. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now.